Okay, so question number 2. What is the correct name for the compound N2O4? Okay, so before we try to answer this question, let's try to figure out the type of compound we have. Since depending on the compound, they would have a different rule to name. So we have nitrogen and oxygen, which are two nonmetals. So this means we have a covalent compound. And since there's only two of them, we have a binary covalent compound. Okay, so since we know that we have a binary covalent compound, we can write out the rules on how to name these types of molecules. So first, we would write the first element. And you would use a prefix if you have more than one atom. So in our case, we have two nitrogens, so we would have to use a prefix of di. So let me quickly go over all of the prefixes on this side over here. 1 is mono, 2 is di, which is what we'll be using, 3 is tri, 4 is tetra, 5 is penta, 6 is hexa, 7 is hepta, 8 is octa, 9 is nona, and 10 is deca. So these are all the different prefixes. I'll just put it in a box so that we can take note of it. But the second step of naming binary covalent compounds is to then name your second element. And for your second element, you would always use a prefix. And you would change your ending to end in "ide." So sometimes you kind of have to tweak your element name in order to end it in "ide." So for example, with oxygen, it wouldn't end in like oxygen-ide, it ends in like oxide. So let's try to name our compound. We have two nitrogens, so we write di-nitrogen. And we have 4 oxygens, so we use the prefix of tetra. And in the case of oxygen, it starts with a vowel, so we would just use tetrox. And then the ending is "ide." So the name of that compound is dinitrogen tetroxide. Okay, so let's see what the junior tutor said. Naming compounds follow a systematic method. To name a binary covalent compound, the steps below may be followed. Step 1 is to check the first element. If the element has a subscript of 1, name the element as it is. For example, in CH4, C is just named as just carbon. If the element has a subscript of greater than 1, add a prefix before the name of the element. For example, in N2O5, N is named dinitrogen. 2. The second element will always have a prefix whether or not its subscript is greater or 1. Moreover, just like the naming of the anion in an ionic compound, we should take the base name of the element and append an "ide" to it. For example, in CO, oxygen is named as monoxide, while in CO2, oxygen is named as dioxide. 3. Put together the names in the previous steps. So, for example, CH4 is named carbon tetrahydride, and CO is named carbon monoxide. In N2O, the first element, nitrogen, must be named as dinitrogen, while the second element, oxygen, must be named as tetroxide. Therefore, the complete name of N2O4 is dinitrogen tetroxide. Yep. So this solution is correct.